Okay, so welcome to Harmony and My Blinded by Bourbon, I guess May 2023 edition, since this is the second one we've done this year already. Hopefully you have your sample kit with the 8 bottles that you've been able to pour out and get prepared in glasses. We're going to run this the way we typically do with a blinded bourbon event, where we taste through everything together as a group without revealing everything. And then after that, you should have these bottles in front of you. And you can probably tell there's 2 stickers on there. So you should be able to peel off the top one and reveal it as we go through the second round. But we will give you the bottle info as we're going through on the second time through as well. So definitely keep some in your glass as you're going through, and then we can all enjoy it the second time and see what we think, whether it's worth the price that you might have to pay for that bottle, or whether it's something a little bit more rare. Harmony, that's brilliant. I'm glad they put that in there for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, just because I set mine up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 4.
Oh yeah, not everybody would do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't want anyone else to have those same upcomings that I do.
Sounds good. Well, before we get going, I just wanted to talk about a few tastings that we have coming up, partially because we did just set up a few more tastings that have just been launched over the last day or so. So later on this week, Harmony does have a few spots remaining for her in-store gin is in tasting. Lockley Distillery, that's going to be a fun tasting with John Campbell, who previously worked at Lafroig, on Saturday at 5 p.m. If you're in and around town. That should be a lot of fun. Really cool young distillery that's getting a lot of hype.
Yeah, I love their spirit. Like it's so good, whether it's bourbon or sherry. So far, I've really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I still haven't had a chance to try them yet, so I'm hoping it's, well, yeah. I'll be working, but I'm going to be listening at the same time.
Yeah.
We do have some spots if you're looking for another virtual tasting next Wednesday for the virtual outturn. Or sorry, that is Wednesday on the 31st. And then a couple new ones coming up. Ardbeg Day, very few spots left for that, but Ardbeg Day is happening at Hayden Block after that as well, I believe. If you didn't hear about that, really cool Bruichladdich tasting coming up virtually with only 2 regular Bruichladdich expressions in there, and then some cooler, relatively older stuff from their first few years of being revived by McEwen and Co. When they first launched in the early 2000s. And then the round 2 of Spongeworthy whiskeys with Angus McRailed, which will be a ton of fun. Really like his bottling so far. And I really want to try that 17-year-old Lecheg that's in there too.
As someone who poured this tasting, I can say that it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then Sean and Eli have a Edmonton versus Calgary craft beer showdown coming up in store. That'll be a lot of fun as well. 2 brewers, Bob Baxter is coming down from the distillery and doing a tasting with us. Really cool to see Bob down here again, and always fun to check out what they're up to. And then unfortunately that Lafroig tasting is sold out. We've got a Napa wine tasting coming up in store. That handsome man might be pouring at that Spring Single Malt Festival. Harmony, I think, unfortunately, is pouring at another event that night, but the rest of us will be around. And then a couple more wine tastings coming up. A really cool Renegade Rums launch. This is one of the former Bruichladdich people, Mark Renier. Has started up. He started up Waterford Distillery, and then decided doing Irish whiskey wasn't enough. He wanted to get into rum too. So he started a distillery down in Guatemala, I believe. So that'll be a lot of fun. A sake tasting, a cider tasting. Yeah.
We actually have a really great sake selection in our store. I know it doesn't get a lot of attention, but Jeff and I have worked really hard at sampling the sakes that we have and choosing them carefully. And I know Bernard's done some posts. Being from Asia, he knows a thing or two, and he's trying to educate us very slowly so we're not overwhelmed on how to read a sake bottle.
That's right. Yeah, that should be tons of fun. Canadian wine Cheese Please edition, and then a Canadian whiskey tasting that Harmony will be running near just right before their Canada Day on June 29th. You'll notice in the picture, if you can look behind the cabinet flag there, there is the Alberta Premium Cask Strength as well as the Canadian Club 45-year-old in the lineup. So that'll be a pretty cool tasting to check out as well. And then the brand new tastings, which we haven't even poured yet on the virtual side, a signatory tasting with some older bottles and some younger bottles. A very cool compass box lineup, including new bottlings of Flaming Heart, the second edition of Circle, Ultramarine, and Bellecour being added to that as well. And then a Daft Mill vertical, which is crazy that we're getting to a point where we can actually do a vertical of it. I believe this does include a bottling where we quietly got 6 bottles of it years ago and never sold it just because Andrew wanted to hold on to it for something like this. So could be some cool stuff in that, including our old Kensington Wine Market cask that's sold out now and the new 15-year-old cask strength that's just arrived. And then North Star Whiskey's virtual tasting with a 31-year-old Glendronach, which I think we're getting in the store tomorrow. So I'm curious to look at that and hopefully give it a quick sip when we're pouring that.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Harmony's doing the happy dance for our Spirits Fest, aka the Not Scotch Festival. This is something that Harmony's been wanting to do for quite a while, and we did try and do this once, Not Scotch Festival pre-COVID, and it did pretty well. But we, with all the mezcal and tequila and all the very cool rums coming in, including Renegade Rum Distillery and stuff from Rest and Beef, Lynch and Mallet, and quite a few others, and all the gin craze as well. There's definitely some stuff that we would love to pour for this. So take a look at those.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I know like the staff are excited to do an event where we're all equally passionate about other spirits and styles of ciders, beers, tequilas, where we all can, I mean, I hope we can almost like pick our own table and what we want to pour in a way, because it's not as structured. I also know that there's a lot of great agents that support us all the time that just don't have a strong Scotch portfolio that we can showcase. I look forward to that.
Yeah, it's everybody notices that our whiskey wall is massive, and it always has been. But the spirit side of things, both tequila and rum, have been steadily growing too, and we've been trying to find shelf space for this. And with moving stuff around, it's gotten a little bit better. But we're always happy to look for other ways to build up if we can find more SKUs to bring in that people are interested in. So this will hopefully give us an idea of what else everybody else is looking for too. Andrew wanted to correct me. Granada is where the Renegade Rum Distillery, I believe, is, not Guatemala, as I said. So thank you for that, Andrew. But with that being said, let's dive right into bourbon. We've got 8 bourbons, hopefully blind, in front of you. Let's start with the one labeled number 1. And even though I put a slideshow presentation together for this just 24 hours ago, I can't remember the exact order. So I'm looking forward to going through this relatively blind with all of you.
I don't either. And I just was speaking to Jeff Sergia. He's like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to buy this tasting. What are you pouring? Yep. And like, what was that raffle bottle that I'm no longer getting? And I was like, so just like 3 days ago when I messaged you, I'm like, oh, what's in our lineup again? I remember 2.
Well, Jeff, in case you're watching this on Facebook, cheers. Wish you could be here.
To Jeff.
Yeah.
I still don't remember what I told him though.
I would have made stuff up just so we could find out later. So I don't think I even put the alcohol level on the blind label. So this is going to be kind of cool. This one isn't.
It smells young. Is that weird to say? Like bourbon's not especially old, but it smells young.
Yeah, doesn't seem overly hot either.
No.
Nice wood notes, definitely getting the barrel char in there.
It doesn't smell like there's a lot of rye in here.
No, not a ton of spiciness beyond sort of like your typical wood spice. little bit of spice on the palate, a little bit drying. I haven't had anything else to drink yet today, so this is my first sip. Still doesn't seem overly hot though.
No.
Lots of like burnt toffee notes to it, I'd say. Burnt sugar. Tim says smells like tequila. Yeah, we're really expanding our idea of what bourbon is by tossing tequila into lineups now.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we would probably lose friends, but
yeah, that's right. Like, well, the cask did hold bourbon at one point.
Yeah.
Renee says, agree that it smells young, white, doggish. Yeah, I can see where you're going on that, and I agree.
Yeah.
A little bit of a cherry note if I'm looking to try and tease stuff out there.
I get like a little bit more like black tea tannins.
Yeah, that's a good call. Even into blackberries on the nose for me. Just a touch of that sort of along with that youth note, a little bit of Sharpie.
And then like an apple, like a browned apple.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer fresh. You cut it up, you meant to eat it. It sat in your backpack for a few more days longer than you anticipated.
That's right. Oxidized apple.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's number one. Let's try out number two.
Oh, this
quite a bit different on the nose.
Smells intensely more fruity than the first one.
Yeah, big time cherries on this one for me.
Mm.
Almost into like a brandy cherry note.
Yeah. I get more like going into nuttiness, like pecans on this one.
Oh, good call. Yeah, almost like a glazed pecan or pecan pie note.
Yeah, like I had a slice of pecan pie yesterday, which is maybe that's why I can pick it up.
Yep. Shay, if you're just joining us, we're just on blind whiskey number 2. Probably no surprise, but the order is number 1 through to number 8 chronologically. And we're just on the blind portion here.
This one's salty.
Salty?
Yeah. Like salted peanuts. And like there's still that burnt chocolate, burnt caramel.
Yeah, it does have that almost oxidized apple note again too.
Mm-hmm.
Like not brown apple, but something that sat out for a bit. Yeah, going into pralines now on the nutty side as well on the nose.
Mm.
Bit of honey roasted almonds.
Mm.
Yeah, Renee agrees on pecan pie. Yeah, a little bit more depth on this one for me than number 1. I like that saltiness that it has.
Mm. Yeah, that's
nose is getting into a bit of brown sugar and cinnamon in a really nice manner. Adam says high ABV on this one.
Okay, possibly, for sure.
Yeah, I'm digging that cinnamon note.
Yeah, the cinnamon, like it's on the nose. It's really on the palate too.
Mm-hmm.
On that.
Yeah, it is. Almost has that tingle as well with it. I'm kind of curious. Like this seems to be like I just poured mine before we started, and it seems to be opening up on the nose just with time in the glass, even with that short period for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm actually gonna pour out the rest of my bottle there and put it in the glass and just see what happens the second time around.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in that little pour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, digging that one so far. Okay, on to number 3 for our blind portion.
Oh, this is different.
Honestly, surprised I can nose anything given the smoke that we've had over the last couple weeks.
I think that's what's making us so cute right now, is that we're not smelling smoke. And
That's right. Yeah, definitely not getting any smoke notes on these either. Just smoke blind at the moment. Eugene says number 2 reminds him of Ocean's Age at Sea. I'm guessing that's Jefferson's Ocean, Eugene. Oh man, number 3, the Applejack cereal is what it noses like on the nose for me right now.
You and your kids' cereals. What
Yeah.
privileged life you live.
Eugene, is that the KWM cask we had a couple years ago? Oh, too bad. Which voyage is it that you were holding up there?
Yeah, I have some of that KWM. Actually, I think you gave it to me. Like
Yeah, I don't think I have any of mine left. I might have killed that one.
This one's at Voyage 28.
28, cool.
We had it locally up here in Fort Mac.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. But
maybe
it's
you're onto
reminding me a
something
lot
since-
of it anyways. I've gotten
Yeah,
about
maybe.
through a bit of the bottle now, so
I was gonna say I think you're well acquainted with that bottle, so maybe you're onto something.
Okay, is this crazy of me to say, but like, what are those candy corn?
Yeah.
I get that. on this
Yeah,
one.
I can see that. It even has like the pink elephant popcorn on the nose.
Yeah. Renee says peanut butter on the nose of 3.
Yeah, I could see that. Good call.
Huh.
It has some really nice fruit notes too, like definite cherry notes, but also into cranberries and even craisins, like dried cranberries as well for me. Touch of strawberry compote.
Getting a little melon on here too, like a
Ooh,
cantaloupe.
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, good call. Oh, that peanut butter is on the palate as well.
Yeah.
Sort of halfway through on the palate and then on the finish big time. Almost has that sugary peanut butter of like the Crave cupcakes with the peanut butter icing.
I hate their icing. It's so sweet.
Yep. Those peanut butter icing ones are just crack though, in my opinion.
I have not had one. No, maybe I'll have to get one and try it. I just like, I wish I could say, hey, like half the icing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim's guessing number 3 might be Casey Jones. Oh,
Well, we did try a Casey
Wish it
Jones the other
was.
day that didn't make it into the lineup yet, but might on a future tasting because Harmony and I and Kurt tried the wheated Casey Jones that is available in the market, and we definitely need to bring it into KWM because all 3 of us have been really impressed with everything they've brought in so far, and I think the wheated might be their best product.
Yeah.
And that's even going beyond the wacky sort of sugarcane and American or whiskey mix that they have, which I thought was a gimmick that is incredibly good.
Yeah. A guy asked me today if I had to pick Casey Jones, what would it pick? And I touched all 3 of them.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
No, I can only buy one. I'm like, no, just buy them all.
Yeah.
Like, don't buy anything for the rest of the month. Just buy these.
Just get something barrel proof because that narrows it down to 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everything they do is quite high, or
Yeah.
at least 47 or higher, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Get the cinnamon
last-
hearts now.
I was going to say the last Blinded by Bourbon, there was a Casey Jones pick in there, wasn't there?
2. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was the grain and cane
Barrel cut.
amalgam that they have. That's so good. The barrel cut, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I really thought, like, truly, and I think I talked about this, I thought that was going to just be this utter garbage. Like, oh, we're trying to make something like super young and making like a peanut butter whiskey or spice box or some crap like that. But oh man, was that good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're onto something with those weird square pot stills of theirs.
That's right.
But no,
So-
I don't think this is a Casey Jones, unfortunately. But
No, still good though.
yeah, there's quite a lot on the palate and on the nose that I wasn't expecting.
I'm gonna stick with the peanut butter icing, but I'm gonna say it's a red velvet cupcake with the peanut butter icing on that one.
Sounds very fancy.
Yeah. On to number 4.
All
A little
right,
bit of
number 4.
little bit of furniture polish on this one, maybe. Like I'm getting the cherry
Yes.
notes, but a touch of lemon pledge as well.
It's definitely more rugged, I will say,
Mhm.
than the last one.
Maybe going heavier on the rye.
Yeah. It's a little tobacco leaf in there as well.
Mhm.
Kyle, we're just on nosing number 4 in the blind. You're just
Mhm.
starting out with us.
Ooh, good call. Renee says almost like a single grain. I really like that citrusy note. It's like a lemon meringue coming out for me right now. Mix is vanilla. Agreed.
Yeah, there's vanilla.
Ooh,
It's spicy.
it's spicy, but it's got this what candy is that? There's something spicy in there, but there's those, the white lifesavers, like not the pure white mint ones, but like if you get the mix pack.
The clear one, like the
Yeah,
book, like the Lifesaver book
yeah,
pack.
where you get the clear ones, yeah, in the book.
Yeah. An alcoholic candy. Pineapple, maybe, says Andrew.
Yeah, I could see pineapple on that.
Like a
Maybe
grilled
even going
pineapple.
into like mixing with the coconut, going into something pina colada-esque.
Oh, don't say that. That is one drink I do not like.
Maybe you like it in bourbon form though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's something on that reminds me of, like, even though it's spicy, like going into like a tapioca note and bubble tea at the same time.
I definitely get the tea tannins there.
Mm-hmm. Tim's guessing Hirsch.
I like
Renee,
Horizon.
rice pudding. I agree on that.
Oh, rice pudding. That's a good note. Yeah.
Yeah, rice pudding with a bit of cinnamon.
Yeah.
Some cream in there as well. A little bit of dryness on the finish there.
It's got this like really big pop of like citrus zest right at the front, and then it goes into all these other things. Like it's almost sharp right on the palate.
It is like that, like a refreshing sharp, not like a young sharp, I would say.
No.
Getting along with the citrus notes, going into like apricot jam now on the nose as well.
What's that baby food dessert? Starts with a C. I can't think of what it is, but it's in a jar or whatever. It's kind of like a rice pudding. I can't think of what it's called.
With a C.
Yeah, but I'm getting like that. I'm just trying to think of what it's called. And the word cobbler is coming to hit my mind, but that's not it.
Cream of
Cream of
wheat.
wheat.
No, not cream of wheat, but that's kind of along that line. I'll think of it here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, this is where we need Jeff. He would have Googled that and had
Congee.
Congee?
Congee.
I don't know. I don't have kids. Huh, yeah, that's good. It's different.
Yeah.
There's another kind of complex, long sipping whiskey that a lot of things going
Yeah.
on. I wonder how it will develop over the next half hour until we get back to it.
Yeah, I just went back to number 3 just as side by side them just for kicks. And 3 is, after having number 4, the nose is into like cinnamon toast, but with toasted raisin bread for me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, Andrew, don't stop trying. We need you.
Yeah, keep on running through the dictionary, man.
Yeah.
Number 2 hasn't changed too much yet. Still super enticing though.
I like
Number
so
1.
far. I like the nose on 2 the best.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh man, number 1 is like big vanilla and melted butter with brown sugar. Like you're melting it to make your peanut
good
brittle.
call.
And like,
yeah, it's also got a bit of like s'mores around the campfire note.
Yeah, and I'm almost getting like that like vanilla extract nose. Like,
yeah, it's totally reminding me of like graham crackers and toasted marshmallows and melting milk chocolate right now.
Yeah, it reminds me of like when you're baking a cookie.
Oh yeah.
The ingredients are still raw. You haven't added in your flour or anything. It's just like your eggs and your butter and your vanillas or almond extracts.
Oh yeah, like you're making. I'm gonna go beyond that and say you're making a blondie.
Oh,
like
sure.
A blondie bar.
Custard. The vanilla custard is what I was thinking of.
Vanilla custard.
All right, let's get into number 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, number 5 seems muted versus the first 4 now. For me, at least.
Yeah.
A little bit of apple cider in there. And pears.
Yeah, pears. Oh, I like the taste. Lots of baked stone fruit for me.
Yeah, versus the nose where, and probably just because of where it is in the order lineup wise, the palate is much more robust and spicy and like it's got some weight to it that I wasn't expecting.
I can feel that it has a higher ABV than the last one as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is like big and toasty.
Yeah, a little bit of like if you accidentally dumped some maple syrup into some steep tea.
I'm gonna guess because I know we always this just has to be a rye. I know we put a rye in here somewhere, and this to me just is screaming rye.
I agree. It's more like a lot of the time with rye, I get like lime or grapefruit on the palate. This one's going into oranges for me, like a very, like it's almost like the zested rim of an old fashioned.
Yeah, like it's been toasted and they're spritzing those oils on top of the drink. Yeah, I'm getting like dark chocolate here too, dark fudge brownie, like double chocolate fudge brownie, and you kind of burnt it a little bit, but still good.
Probably the power of suggestion since he said rye, but I'm getting dill on the nose now.
Well,
like dill pickle chips. Tim says Terry's orange, the Terry's chocolate orange.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. Those orange notes are coming out really nicely on the palate now. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to number 6. Ooh, this is like stinky and woody. This one right off the hop.
Yeah. Mm.
So woody.
It's funny now, the further away I get from one, the more muted these noses feel. Is it just me?
No, I agree. So the nose, especially after the palate, like taste a sip of it, but the nose and the palate are like full on like burlap sacks.
Yeah. Like leather.
Yeah. You
and
just
wooden.
opened up an old wooden trunk. Leather for sure. Like old leather, not new leather.
Mm-mm.
This is the worn in stuff.
Yeah, this is not a brand new Sunday Bible. This is the old one.
A little bit of carpentry sawdust there. Well, a lot of carpentry sawdust actually.
I would go one step further in that carpenter shop. You got some wood polish going on here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that is like if I was using one word to describe this whiskey, it seems rustic. Like it's not like very fruit driven at all for me.
Renee and Tim said they had this one last night.
Nice.
So then throw some tasting notes out there.
Yeah. If there's any fruit on this, I'm going to say yellow plums.
I will believe you.
Yeah, even on the palate, there's a bit of like fresh plums on there for me.
I can't remember the last time I had a plum, and I like plums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this seems like, I don't know, like this is the left turn in the lineup so far for me.
Yeah, this is it's pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, on to number 7.
Yeah.
Sorry, Harmony, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna let my mind muddle in this a little bit and try to figure it out.
My mind's already well muddled.
I'm sitting here. I was telling you earlier about my pineapple orange juice and Clementino liqueur, and it is so good. And I'm just like, man, I wish there was more pineapple and orange in all these bourbons right now.
Nice. I was side note, I was at my wife and I had a date at Hexagon Cafe a couple nights ago, and she'd never been there. I'd only been there for coffee, and it's one of my favorite places to do staff interviews and stuff like that too. So that's usually how I end up there. But we sat down and actually played a board game, and it was a ton of fun. It's a great place, and I was driving, so I had a non-alcoholic drink they had, and it was like a pineapple fizz with matcha, and it was so delicious.
Yeah, it's nice that they're making non-alcoholic drinks
Totally.
like, exciting, but it's no different than like blending juices together, but nobody ever did that before.
That's right. I thought I was trendsetter like 15 years ago as a bartender when I mixed like vodka, cranberry, and orange juice together. But
you were, Evan.
I never got a drink named after me, so I guess I wasn't that much of a trendsetter.
Yeah. This is beautiful. I'm loving the nose on this. This is like
this kind of
strawberries.
it's a cotton candy right off the hop for me on this one, and it still has those like leathery carpentry notes that I was getting on the last one in the background, but it's more, it kind of combines the last one with more of the fruit from the ones that came before.
Yeah, for me, it's bubblegum, tape, and sawdust. Just like being a kid with my, yeah, number 7.
Yeah.
Being a kid with my candy in my grandpa's workshop, and he's like working away telling me stories, and I'm just passing him tools, petting the dogs.
See, if I was a bartender nowadays, bubblegum candy or tape and sawdust might go into a drink.
Yeah.
But
just sprinkle a little sawdust on
that's
top,
right.
little tape on the rim.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that'll be $22, please.
That's right. Oh yeah, this is pretty.
Yeah, like the nose is still muted for me, and even the palate is a little bit muted versus a lot of the rest of the lineup, but it has this elegance to it that I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, this is nice. Like there's a nice round mouthfeel to it.
Yeah, really well put together.
Yeah. All right, last one in the blind.
Yep. On to 8.
8.
Ooh. This is opening up a fresh pack thing of Play-Doh right now on the nose for me.
We never had bought Play-Doh as a kid. Like my mom just made it.
Yeah, I guess you're like, you probably miss a bit more of that plasticky note because
yeah, but you still get that
thing
salty
for so long.
You still get the salt
because it does have a bit of that plasticky note on the nose, and not in a bad way.
This one burns my nose hairs.
Got
right
a little bit
at
of
the front.
little bit of chamomile tea as well. It's a little bit burny on the nose. Maybe it's a little bit higher ABV.
Yeah. It's funny, like it doesn't get me in the back of the sinuses. It's like right there in the nose. There's a lot of cherry on that for me. And still baby notes.
All cherry to the point of like tanginess, even on the palate.
Yeah. Like sour cherries, cooked down sour cherries. A little bit of leather.
I like this one a lot. This one's really nice. This is what I want in a bourbon.
A little bit of potato skins on the nose for me right now too. Like not the peeling potatoes, but the like you ordered some potato skins at the bar.
And they just brought it out.
Yeah, fried them up. Put a little bit of green onions there on there for garnish.
Yes, totally. There is that little green note in there.
Yeah. Probably a little bit of seasoning salt on there.
It's lasting quite a while on the palate too.
Yeah, nice bit of toastiness on the palate as well.
Yeah. There's even a little bit of that rye bread toastiness in there. Not a lot, but
it's a little bit drying, but not like offensively drying. Like my mouth is still watering a little bit from it.
And I do get, I mean, maybe it's just like all the tastings we do, and I try to think of like profiles within them, because sometimes I almost get blinded by the corn. But I can't find some of the floral notes within bourbon, which I know they do carry a lot of. But I am getting a little bit of chamomile kind of notes on this, on the finish.
Speaking of Blinded By, did anybody take a look at the QR code that I put on these bottles.
I tried to scan one, but it wouldn't work. So then I just stopped
shoot.
trying on any other ones.
Maybe
But
it
I
didn't
know
work
you
for
liked-
anybody then.
I know you like to put fun things on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely done a couple Rick rolls on previous blinded buys where it goes to
Number
Rick
2
Astley.
worked.
Yeah. So it should go to a song called Blinded by the Light.
Yeah. Is that what they all are?
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
keep Gino
Eugene
muted
seems to
in case we
appreciate
have to
it,
start
so
listening to him
that's good.
sing.
Yeah.
We'll
Tim
talk to him
thinks
at the party if we want that.
Tim thinks new riff on are you thinking that for number 8, Tim? It's a
Ah,
cool note. Cool guess.
yeah. I'm trying to kill my labels off, but we overlap them so good.
Well, before we go through the reveal, I'm just going to go backwards through the lineup after doing number 8 and just see if anything's changed on the nose and palate for me. Number 7 still seems muted on the nose.
All right, I'll go with yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
A little bit of like corduroy pants that just came out of the dryer.
On 7,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting fruit. Not laundry. I'm getting fruit.
Ooh, that's good palate. Number 6. Oh man, so woody. So woody.
It's woody and hot.
Yeah, it's like you're carrying a big pack of like folded up cardboard in a burlap sack.
And there's like shoe polish nearby.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. The shoe shine guy is working hard out front as you carry your sack
Yeah.
through the streets.
Number 5. Oh wow. That is like a super light Earl Grey tea right now on the nose, number 5 for me.
Oh my gosh. There and oh man, what is that?
That is cool. That's actually not even Earl Grey. That is
Iced tea.
brisk iced tea
Yeah.
on the nose.
Yeah, it's iced
Crazy.
tea. Yeah, that is weird.
That is brisk, baby.
That is brisk.
Oh, even on the palate. Wild.
Yeah.
That's that's like we poured a blind tasting virtually, and then Sammy accidentally like spilled the bottle and replaced it with iced tea. Dumped a bit of vodka in there.
Right.
Number 4 is full on apple pie with a little bit of cherries as well. A touch of fresh raspberries too.
Interesting. I'm getting a little bit more, I mean, again, power suggestion, but like apple croissant with like heavy sugar crystals that have kind of burnt in the oven a little bit.
Like croissant or Danish style where it's
like a Danish
I totally
style.
get where you're going.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, even into like an apple turnover donut or whatever.
Exactly. And like they left the apples on the bottom of the sheet.
Yeah. Number 3 is still cinnamon toast on toasted raisin bread for me.
Yeah. 3
Still get that
again,
peanut
it's
butter
like
too.
it smells young to me. And sometimes it's hard to get past that in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta stop drinking these. We have to go back still.
Yeah. Number 2 is Mountain Dew with like a squeeze of orange pop if you're at the fountain machine. Actually, you said melon for another one, but it does have a little bit of honeydew on this one as well for me right now. and number one. Number one, still number one. It's like it still has all that burnt toffee and brown sugar.
I don't know why, but I'm thinking like grape engine grease. Like so weird.
Grape and engine grease. That's my favorite flavor of engine grease. That's like a Lecheg tasting note right there.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from. Like,
yeah, it's like you cut the top off of a Lecheg where you just got like you didn't get the heavy oil, but you got like a little bit of the musty, dusty, everything else.
Yeah.
Well, that was cool. Shall we start on the reveal right away? Okay.
All right. So if you have not already peeled your labels, start peeling. Number one. May I?
Yeah.
You got a slide for us?
Yeah. And I'm gonna taste through this again while we're doing this just for kicks, but
yeah.
You want to do the reveal and I'll put it up there for you?
Sure. So number one is the new black corn whiskey out of Peru, out of the Don Michael's Privilege black corn whiskey.
Yeah. So from the Andes, relatively new whiskey. I think we started seeing it around August of last year or so. And it was, I mean, of course it launched and won some silly award in New York or something, but we wanted to get it in and just try it out regardless. And it's pretty interesting stuff. It's definitely young. It's definitely not like massively complex because of that. But it's a cool concept, and I believe they are using not 100% Andean black corn, which looks like this stuff on the side here. It is truly black corn. It is an heirloom variety that's grown in the region, and that is Mr. Don Michael himself. I can't remember what his last name is. Michael something, but that is he actually did build a distillery in Peru to do all this. This isn't just sourcing like neutral grain spirit from somewhere else and then calling it your own. He has launched as distilleries do. He has launched a gin and a vodka and a bunch of other stuff as well, and he has a line of 3 different whiskeys. But this is the only one we've seen in the market so far.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, and I mean. They're so transparent, like we're 100% black corn whiskey, and the first whiskey to come out of this region. And for the uneducated person, it's nice. Like if you don't know about distilling and like the chemical science of it all, you're like, oh, I'm a celiac, I can drink this. It's 100% corn. And if you're just looking for something to splash in your Coke or Pepsi, like this is good. For me, I want something a little bit more complex, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with this bourbon at all.
Well, I think Renee's got a good point there, where this is a good starting point for them. I agree. Like I said, they're running a full-blown true distillery down there from the looks of it as well. So also employing a bunch of people, which is awesome. And the whiskey and Coke thing was a cool thing to point out there, because it almost is like a whiskey and Coke reduction on the palate, where you get those like vanilla cola notes, that brown sugar or that burnt sugar note, and it's almost like a slimmed down version of a cocktail, less calories.
Yeah, no, it's I agree. It's like if this is what they're starting off with, like future should be bright. And I mean, I know we talked about the Casey Jones weeded, and they're using the red corn in that mash.
And heirloom corn.
And their heirloom corn. It'd be fun to try these head to head. I know it's going to be very different climate wise and all that jazz, but I look forward to us popping that bottle so I can do our corn tasting. How many colors of corn are there? And how many are made into whiskey?
Based on whiskey, Balcones has done blue.
Right? Blue,
We've seen red from Casey Jones. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's yellow. Don't quote me on that. But take care, G Eugene. Okay, on to number 2.
Ah, this is nice.
So it's too bad Eugene left, because he was right about this one.
He doesn't need to hear that. I know.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
right.
personally.
We're just saying it because he's not here.
That's right.
So this is Jefferson's Ocean Voyage 28, which was the bottle that Eugene was holding up as well. So you never heard it from me, Eugene, and I'll never back you up on this if you say I said this, even though it's recorded. Just like Daniel Smith, I never said it. You're taking it out of context. But he was full on right about this one. 45% alcohol for the Jefferson's Ocean. This is the first voyage I've had since the KWM cast. Unfortunately, just because of the way scheduling works and everything, we haven't seen any voyages that I recall since 23, I think was the KWM cast. So we don't see them all up here, but I've always been impressed with Jefferson's Ocean. It was one of those when I first got into bourbon and I thought it was going to be a gimmick. I was like, oh, you know what? I can see what they're going for, and I do like what it does to the whiskey itself.
Mm-hmm.
So as with all Jefferson Ocean bottlings, there was a voyage that it went on the ship that it went on as well. Started over here in I can't remember which port that is. It's in Louisiana, if I remember correctly, and then went on quite a trip before coming back around and through the Panama Canal as well.
Does it say how long that trip is? I don't remember.
No, I don't think they actually give any specific dates or time on these, and I don't know if they ever have. Could be wrong on that, but on anything past voyage 12 that I've seen, they haven't.
No, I don't think they do, but it'd be curious because not all of its maturation is done on this ship.
No, not at all. They're essentially taking already mature bourbon and then putting on this.
Yeah.
So and this is going to be fun to look at just because I showed this to Harmony today, but this is where Jefferson's is made now. They made a deal about 4 years ago now. It was pre-COVID, to distill all their whiskey and source it from Kentucky Artisan Distillery, which is just north and east of Louisville in Kentucky, in a smaller town. But that's the Jefferson still apparently, and it looks like there's definitely some copper inside, but it's the stainless steel jacketed from the looks of it. Same with a lot of the piping and stuff here. The distillery look of this is so quaint compared to some of the distilleries we're going to see in as we go through the reveal, because this is like, oh, we started a distillery just before the boom around 2012 or so. And then everything that's sort of like 2017 built in on gets into these crazy modern, massive facilities that we're going to see in some upcoming bottles here.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the differences that we see in distilleries and in all distilleries. Like,
absolutely. Well, we're like, this isn't anything that is new in Kentucky at all. Like, this is something we see in Scotch distilleries, even, where like you have everything from, oh, we built this distillery in a farm shed that we had to put a roof back on because it hadn't been occupied since the 1700s, to something where it's like, yeah, there's no brick and mortar in this at all. This is all stainless steel and glass, and is not built for looks. It's built for pumping the juice out, essentially.
Yeah. And I think there's almost a benefit to that. Like, you don't want to draw attention back in the day, but now it's all about the attention. But I like that kind of quiet look. I think that distillery looks like a home and garden shop that you'd see.
Oh man, totally.
just like
I was thinking
you're
like
entering High River.
yeah. I was thinking like some overgrown mom and pop like convenience store where it's just like it's been there because it's always been there. Like
Right.
it's the third generation, was put up in the 50s, and they've just slowly expanded with every new family member that came on over time. Family actually lives on the second floor in the back.
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
They live
Yeah.
in there. Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he says limestone branches like that. Mm-hmm.
Right on. Yeah, no, that's a nice whiskey for sure. I personally have not ever been wowed by the regular Jeffersons, and it's not a bad product, and I'm not
Yep.
saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just like it's another bourbon that doesn't wow me. But
No,
but
the
Ocean,
Jefferson's small batches just like, but the reserve tends to be decent for me, but the Ocean is cool because it is a little bit different.
yeah, no, it's nice. It's different for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, on to number 3. So I'll have to go back because someone did say the name on this, but
It
I
wasn't on this whiskey, so
think it was for a different whiskey. Yeah.
you were coming from the right place,
Yeah,
but on the
it's,
wrong bottle.
Close but no cigar.
Yeah. You're one bottle too late on this one. So this is the Hirsch Bivouac.
Bivouac, I think is how it is.
Bivouac.
Or bivouac. Yeah.
Yes. Silly. They just put in all these extra vowels just to confuse us after drinking. Yeah.
They had the AI name this one, and AI was just looking for non-trademark terms, I think is what it came down to.
So high corn, 13 rye, 15 malted wheat. Is that right? Or
Malted barley.
Okay. Bottled at 50%.
Yeah. So 5% of this is an older 8-year-old bourbon, and 95% of it is a younger, under 4-year-old bourbon. I've seen 3 years and 2 months and 3 years and 9 months on different sites. It probably has to do with batch difference and how old that stock is that they had at the time. So maybe they'll eventually be all over 4-year-old whiskey in here, but I don't know. But this is the second bottling we've seen from the modern Hirsch, which is essentially a revived name from the almost beyond legendary and into mythical now age Hirsch 16-year-old bourbons that were in the early to mid 2000s. That are incredibly sought after. But they're putting out some pretty cool stuff. Definitely a sourced whiskey or likely sourced from the Bardstown Bourbon Company. And this is the Bardstown Bourbon Company, one of those more modern complexes that I was talking about, where you can tell there was money put into it. And they're built for tours, which is what you got to do if you're building a distillery nowadays. It's got a restaurant in there based on the sign, and you can see some of the distillery itself based on all the panes of glass there. These guys are just outside of Bardstown, and they built to be relatively high volume for a new distillery, and they've since expanded like 3 times in the last 4 years, if I remember correctly. You can see some of the warehouses in the background here. So definitely, I don't know where the money comes from. I think it is local Kentucky money and privately owned. It's not one of the big guns or the traditional big guns of bourbon that built these guys. But these guys are one of the bigger sources for a lot of the new bourbons that are up and coming. So we'll probably hear this name, Bardstown Bourbon Company, quite a bit as time goes on. Eugene, you might have missed it, but you were correct about number 2. You were bang on about the voyage as well. It was Jefferson's Ocean Voyage 28. I'm gonna just put down that down to the reps that you had put in on that bottle already.
Yeah. Wait, Bardstown. Are we getting Bardstown in Alberta?
So this I'll just go back here for you, Eugene. This is Hirsch the Bivouac, and it sounds like so the Hirsch the Horizon. I think that was a blend of Kentucky and Indiana and Tennessee whiskeys that they say, at least Kentucky and Indiana. This one sounds like it all came from the Bardstown Bourbon Company, from what I can find out.
Okay. I haven't opened up my bottle. I've got it up there. I was going to use it for a tasting. So
yeah, pretty good stuff. It's not like a super long finish, I would say, but definitely does what it's supposed to do when it comes to bourbon.
I picked up a cask strength one too.
From the new Hirsch?
One of them, yeah.
Cool.
Adam was asking, when will we see an actual Bardstown in Calgary? And I wish I had an answer. I haven't heard anything currently.
Yeah, I haven't either.
No.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. And it sounds like production-wise that I'm assuming that'll happen sometime in the future. It'll be interesting to see what agency they end up going with, because again, they seem to be, for a young distillery and an independent distillery, a relatively large volume concern. So, and we'll probably get back into that as we go into the next one, which I kind of spoiled with one of the slides there. So let's go on to number 4.
Yeah. Nice, Gene. I literally have that shot from their website saved on my phone because it's one I would be curious to try.
Yeah. Their bottles look pretty cool, even though I'm not like, oh, that's a pretty bottle type guy, but.
And speaking from a retailer, I hate the bottle, but I like it as well.
Yep. Yeah, number 4 still has that nice citrus note to it.
Mm-hmm.
As it would, since I did spoil that this is a rye.
Yeah. It's got a lot more lime on the palate now. And
yeah. It's definitely sort of gone past the orange and into the lime, and I really like that.
Yeah, it's a surprise.
I do like the palate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the Bradshaw Kentucky Straight Rye. Don't have the full size bottle in here, but aged for at least 2 years before bottling. This is from the Green River Distilling Company out of Owensboro, Kentucky. Same company that produced the source Bradshaw bourbon from. Both are bottled at 51.9% alcohol, which is essentially, we got that high number because the Terry Bradshaw is an egotistical retired quarterback, but luckily that ego and him wanting to have something that showed his completion rate, I think, when it came to passing on the bottle, led to the 51.9%, which I'm all for. So the Green River Distilling Company, I was just reading this last night, was purchased by the Bardstown Distilling Company just back in June of 2022.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading that. So go back to your Bardstown. It's relevant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
So there's the Bardstown Bourbon Company, which is just outside of Bardstown itself, hence the name. And there is the Green River Distilling Company. This started as it actually, the buildings go way back because they have a DSPKY number 10 number on it. So the 10th official DSP distillery number in Kentucky from years and years ago, established in 1885, but of course hasn't been running all that time. It was revived originally as the O.Z. Tyler distillery and tried to do some wacky things when it came to like speeding up maturation using centrifuges and some other black magic that didn't really take on, thank goodness. And then did another revival and changed their name to the Green River Distilling Company, and has been producing some pretty cool whiskey apparently. The Bradshaw Bourbon and Rye are the only bottlings that we're aware of that come from here in Canada so far, though. And now they are owned by the Bardstown Bourbon Company as well.
Yeah, interesting. That Green River is definitely not a name we see often here.
No,
No,
I didn't even see the name OZ Tyler or Green River until we got in the Bradshaw Bourbon.
I mean,
I gotta say, this bourbon or the rye for me has a bit more character than the bourbon. The bourbon I did probably about a year and a half ago in a tasting, and it's good. But this one, the rye, I just like a little bit more. And it is a 95% rye, 5% malted barley mash bill. That is their own juice.
Going into like peppermint
Yeah.
flavors too, like you get that menthol note in there.
Yeah, the menthol note, and then like lime and green apple Jolly Ranchers mixed together right now on the palate for me.
Yeah, with a little bit of tobacco.
Okay, back to number 5. Was this the orange one, or was it the Bradshaw the first time around?
No, this is orange.
Yeah, still getting that on here.
And like we were talking today, but like we can't remember the order. We have a PowerPoint with some stuff in it that we made. The problem sometimes is doing virtual and having things mailed out as we plan these months in advance.
Yeah.
But I was
and
right.
We're kind of like the quickly do our homework again the night before kind of thing.
Oh, this is lovely.
Yeah. So this is also a 95.5 rye, which probably isn't too surprising. Does have some earmarks for this distillery, but it is a gorgeous single cask of it from the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society of all places.
Yeah. And 55.5% is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Yeah.
I picked this one out and then peeled off the label during the tasting because I was like, it's got to be this, because I remember from the SMWS tasting, I was like, I bought a bottle of it right away because I wanted to get the Lux Roll one.
Well, very tasty. You're killing it, man. So it's
familiar enough because it was recent.
Yeah. So this isn't Lux Row Distillery, but this is MGP Distillery in Indiana, owned by the same company. So MGP Distillery, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, sort of the famed place for getting a lot of source bourbon and rye, especially that 95% rye, 5% malted barley mash bill, which Green River Distilling does now as well. But this is the place for if you want to source a good rye and not have to do anything about it and just toss it in a bottle and sell it. This is the place to go. Same with their bourbons, tons of different mash bills on rye and bourbon. It's an old Seagram's owned, previously owned plant. So it is a massive industrial facility. Seagram's in the day owned this and Four Roses and a few other places. It's kind of like Alberta Distillers is for me when it comes to rye, where there are two great North American rye producing factories, and Alberta Distillers is one of them. MGP is the other. Both are great for different reasons. They do have a different style to them, but if you want a good rye, you can't really go wrong if you get something cast strength from either one.
Agreed. I mean, my goodness, looking at that, it's so massive, but does not look like a whiskey place. Like Bardstown, if you were a young kid driving by, you'd think it was like a NASA rocket center with like rockets in the windows. And then you look at something like that and you're like, oh, like that looks like, I don't know, just like some massive food production factory, but it's putting out something even better.
Shay asking if this one says it says sold out. Yeah, unfortunately, Andrew told me it just sold out earlier today.
I was so mad. He yelled
Yeah,
it
me
across the
too.
store. RW sold out. I'm like, that's at my tasting tonight. What are you doing?
I was thinking that too. I was like, shit, don't we have that in a tasting coming up? I was like, oh yeah, this one right here.
Yeah.
Truly glad we got to share this one with everybody. It is sad that we don't have more of it to sell because good grief. Like I haven't had any bad MGP rye. I don't know if it actually exists, but seeing it in single cask form like this is awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, I mean, yeah, there might be a tasting unclaimed if someone wants to
Yeah,
buy an old tasting, the leftover, and revisit it.
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to spend more time with this left turn that we had for number 6.
Yeah,
So woody.
it's definitely changed a bit in the glass.
Yep.
I mean, it's weird. It smells like lake water now, but
It's changed.
Did you say something about fishing earlier with this one?
No, I said burlap sacks. It still has a burlap sacks all over the place for me.
I don't know. I'm fishing now.
Yeah, this is. I just looked up what it is again, and we'll share it in a sec. But it's kind of a shock to me because this is not what I was expecting from it. It is just full on rustic right now for me, where it's like it's woody. Definitely seems older. Quite possibly some batch variation to this, so I'm definitely gonna have to keep my eye out on this one and see if it changes. But Lux Row was brought up just before this, so
Can't get the barcode to work.
there we go. So this is Old Ezra 7-year-old barrel strength bourbon, 58.5% alcohol. So actually an actual age stated bourbon, which we don't see a ton of nowadays. Some places do them, but not a lot. And typically you have to be a bigger producer to do so. And Lux Row Distillers happens to be a bigger producer. They have been a whiskey bottler for 70 plus years now.
Yeah.
They have actually only recently got into the actual production side of things in the last 5 or 6 years. And then I believe it was 2021, they were full on purchased by MGP Distillery. So Lux Row has been making brands for a long time. Ezra Brooks, of course, which is where Old Ezra comes from. Rebel Yell, which is now Rebel Bourbon, is their brand as well. For years and years and years, Heaven Hill was one of the main sources as far as I know, but they essentially have access to 3 different distilleries now. They have the Limestone Branch Distillery, which does Yellowstone Rye and Yellowstone Bourbon and Minor Case Rye. Yeah. And then they have Lux Row Distillers, which is their own distillery that was built in just outside of Bardstown very recently. Again, a nice modern building versus let's go back here.
I mean, that looks like a home
versus this guy. Yeah. But yeah, this is Lux Row, and they definitely have and then they have Limestone Branch and MGP Distillery, which is monikered Ross and Squibb when it's an actual official product from Lux Row / MGP. So a big bourbon concern with 3 different distilleries in Kentucky. And I gotta say, I think I need more time with this one, but I'm kind of shocked this was Old Ezra, because I remember liking it a lot more when we had a batch a couple of years ago.
It feels thin.
Yeah, it does.
Like it feels thin for a 7-year. And for Old Ezra, in general, especially for its high ABV. I'm quite surprised on how light it is for age and alcohol. Like you get the oak and spice and kind of dark cherry note, and then it just kind of, for me, it fizzles out. There is a finish, but it's like it's woody.
Yeah, I think the palate is actually getting better over time. for me, where I'm getting more fruit, a little bit more like peach cobbler and cherry notes coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's some
the nose is
maybe
getting a
it's
bit better, but
maybe this is like an old-fashioned bourbon for me, where I can explore with different bitters and kind of play with it a little bit. I think that there's an ability here to dress it up if needed, but
yeah. Actually, the palate's getting a lot better, and it could just because I'm 6 in at this point, but
no, there is some
there's more going
there.
on than there was the first time around for sure.
I get like those candied apples, baked apple notes. Yeah.
Okay, on to number 7.
I love the nose on this. Oh my goodness.
I was really excited to toss this in a lineup because we did have it in store tasting a while back, sometime last year, and it kind of blew me away. I wasn't expecting a lot. I didn't know what to expect, but it reminded me of one specific distillery that it definitely doesn't come from, but it's got these great fruity notes that kind of remind me of Buffalo Trace for some reason. Oh, you're muted there, Harmony.
I can see Buffalo Trace coming from this for sure.
Yeah.
That's not a bad guess. I think you said cinnamon on this. It's all cinnamon for me right now.
Cinnamon, but also not like big rye spice.
No.
And
it's like a sweet cinnamon. Like,
yeah, that'll probably become evident when we reveal this. So this is SN Pike's Magnolia Bourbon, another revived brand from ages gone by, Magnolia, and this is their high proof wheated bourbon. Mash bill contains a very low 51% corn, a very high 45% wheat, 4% malted barley, pardon me, and I believe that is a MGP mash bill, if I remember correctly.
yeah,
but
they're not producing their own.
No, they're definitely not.
No.
But so this is bottled in Ohio. Ohio is where the brand came from. This was probably had a connection with George Remus at some point, because it was a distillery in Cincinnati that he probably had gobbled up during Prohibition.
Possibly. The story, I believe, at the time was SN Pike was a sourcer of whiskey and also a producer with big financial ties to the community in Cincinnati, and he built like an opera hall and a music hall and did a lot of things to entertain the people, and because of that he became a very big fan by the people, which allowed him to sell more and more of his whiskey. He had to invest a lot because I believe his first opera house, which took him almost 10 years to build, was burnt down in front of him. And the story goes that he stood on the adjacent rooftop, didn't speak a word, lit a cigar, and drank a bottle of whiskey and just watched his achievement burn to the ground.
Nice.
And then he quickly, maybe he called in some favors, and they rebuilt it bigger and grander. And at the time, it was the largest opera house in the area and further. So I think it's pretty cool. I mean, history is fun, and at the same time, reusing dead people's names from the past to, further your financial exploits. I mean, I'm on the fence. But it's still good storytelling, and if it makes good whiskey, I'm all for it.
I agree, and for me, this is a pretty damn good bourbon. We don't see a ton of wheaters on the regular outside of Maker's Mark. Even Weller for us is hard to get, but this is the second time I've tried it, different bottles and probably different batches, but I've been super impressed both times with the bourbon that's in the bottle. And at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't matter where it was sourced from beyond that, because yeah, I quite like this one.
Yeah. Father-daughter team coming together to make bourbon. I mean, that's a good story.
Yep.
Yeah. It's good whiskey. I really like it. I like the regular stuff too, but the product is really well done.
And this drinks so well for being just under 62, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember introducing this to Eli. He bought a bottle, I think, of just the red label at, what is it, 47 and a half, I think. And I said, I'm like, oh, this, like, it's a weeder. I mean, it'll make a really nice whiskey sour if you want to play with some bitters and aromatics on this. And he comes to work the next day just dragging his heels head back. Just
that was your fault.
I drank so many whiskey sours last night. I didn't sleep. Like, nice.
Yeah.
Good old Magnolia.
Yeah, Magnolia strikes again.
Yeah. But he enjoyed it, right? I mean, not the next day, but at the time.
Okay, on to number 8. So this maybe you purchased before on the web and stuff, but we did add a little note about there being a limited bottling in the lineup for this, and this is the limited bottling. We originally only received 3 bottles of this. Harmony was actually able to talk us into a little bit more. So we had to sacrifice a bottle, which left us with 2, but we got another 3-pack of it. So we actually have 5 bottles of this, which is pretty cool. I was going to say, maybe don't do the math until a few Kensington Wine Market employees get a chance to purchase one, but currently we have 5 bottles of it, so we'll see what happens.
Let's go have these, Evan, on the 5. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
That's right.
No, this is cool. Larceny is one that I remember at my other shop, you know, we'd have people lined up on Wednesdays when they knew there was a bourbon release, and anything that said foolproof or barrel proof was sought after, and often I would have to hide bottles in the back or just get my hand slapped for doing that and say, nope, put them out, sell them to the people. So this is one that I had never been able to purchase, but luckily there's good people in the world, and every once in a while they'd crack the bottle at the till after purchasing or hand it over right back to me and go, okay, here, open this so we can try it. So I have been able in the past to try a couple, but it's been a long time since I've got my hands on one of these. So it was a nice refresher.
This is my first time trying the Larceny barrel proof. So this is specifically batch C922. That is the bottle that we received 6 bottles of total. Eugene's given a thumbs up there.
Oh, does it have a good rating? Or are you buying it? Yeah, he wants to buy too.
Yeah. So we didn't really talk about this. I'm not in tomorrow. Harmony is.
Yeah.
So I would say if you are interested in a bottle of this, email Harmony. She might have to do a bit of a raffle, but we'll see how popular it is before we figure that out. This guy is bottled at 63.33% alcohol. Mash bill is 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. And this is the distillery it comes from. It says Heaven Hill Distillery, established in 1935. Heaven Hill Distillery, the original Heaven Hill Distillery, burnt down in around 97 or 98. Which was within or just outside of Bardstown. This is Bernheim Distillery, which they purchased afterwards to keep up production. And Bernheim Distillery is in the suburbs of Louisville. But regardless of where it comes from, Heaven Hill makes some really, really good bourbon. Super happy with Larceny. So the second weeder in the lineup, and the second Heaven Hill weeder we've had in a blind bourbon tasting, because we did do an Old Fitzgerald, which we only got 3 bottles of, I think last year. I remember correctly.
Oh, and we did the Cadenhead Heaven's Hill 12.
Totally, but not, maybe that probably wasn't a weeder, but we don't know that for sure.
I think it might be.
It might be. Yeah.
So is Heaven Hill also part of the Bardstown family? Like they're all in there together?
No. So the Heaven Hill company is owned by the Shapiro family, which has been around for ages. They sort of bought into a distillery that ended up being called Heaven Hill. That was founded by a gentleman named William Heaven Hill, I believe it was.
Okay.
Just outside of Bardstown, and then they ended up purchasing it from them outright when the family was having some financial difficulties, and the Shapiros have stayed in the whiskey game since. They are the one of the largest private liquor companies in the world, or family-owned liquor companies in the world. One of the largest in North America. Brown-Forman is technically larger, although they have more shareholders than the Shapiros do, where most of it is still kept in the family with the Shapiros. So definitely a huge history on whiskey making within that company. And of course, everybody knows a lot of the Heaven Hill brands, such as Elijah Craig. One of my favorite names is Evan Williams. I don't know why. But some great bourbons, some great rye under the name Rittenhouse and Pikesville, and numerous other brands under their lineup as well, and Larceny. So that's a lineup for those of you that are around. I think I put a poll together for this. Hopefully I have it correct. I didn't do the blind favorites part, which I should have done before we went back, but let's go and launch the reveal favorites. So this is picking your first and second favorite of the night. Harmony, you're muted again.
I was going to say, if we revealed it too soon and we want to do a blind tasting, you have to close your eyes and then vote. Just quick. And that's right. A blind taste.
That's what are your two favorites, Harmony? Just out of curiosity.
I love the Magnolia. I'm really digging it.
Yeah, me too.
And I like that. I hate liking things that are sold out, but I like the rye as well, the Society rye, and
yeah, the nose on the Society rye is just fantastic.
Okay, so I'm holding 6 and 8. Oh, they're both lovely. The Ezra is really opening up.
It is.
Yeah. And then what else do I have left in the glass? That's the real kicker here.
Yeah, based on what I've drank the quickest, it's
I mean,
Magnolia is gonna have to be my number one.
Sometimes I drink things quickly because I'm trying to figure out what they are. I'm trying to figure out, do I like you? Do you have a profile that I like? And there's just certain things that I'm not a fan of, but I keep drinking it, trying to find something positive. Because that's my job, to stay positive. But according to this poll, I was 100% right. And the Hirsch is not anyone's favorite.
Yep.
Because it's not mine. Like, you have to be objective. It's not about selling your palate in your opinion. People will ask you your opinion and say, oh yeah, we have similar palates. What do you recommend? That's different. But if somebody walks in and goes like, what's a nice wheated bourbon? I have to be objective.
Yep.
But I'm lucky that all of my friends here tonight and I are on the same page when it comes to the reveal of favorites.
Yeah, let's reveal those now. So I gotta say, like I like the Hirsch, and I think it's a good bourbon, but it doesn't work in a lineup like this for sure. It just kind of falls by the wayside. Doesn't do anything like coloring outside of the box to make you remember it, and it's not like a super long finish or anything. But if this is a bourbon that you had on your shelf and you were sharing it with a friend, I think it's a great bourbon. It's really well put together. But would I rather have this or a Magnolia? I'm going to take that Magnolia, please. The Magnolia is just a fantastic bourbon. I can't believe that's sourced from, like, I can believe it comes from MGP because I've been really impressed with MGP, but that is a really well put together batch of high proof bourbon, whether it's a wheater or not. Definitely agree on the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society bottle. That is just utterly fantastic, and it is a travesty that is sold out. I got to give an honorable mention to the Bradshaw, though. I was not expecting much from that rye, and I was really impressed with it. I got to say, I like that. The Bradshaw bourbon for me was kind of like the Hirsch when we did it in a lineup where it was just like, it's good bourbon, but doesn't jump out at you. This rye
it's
is
like, it's a mixer
really well
where this one, it's like, don't mix it, just put it down, walk away, come
Step
back.
away from the mix.
Step away from the Bradshaw rye and come back because you're going to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the empty glass on the Bradshaw. Great stuff.
It even smells better now than it did 20 minutes ago.
Yep.
I'm also surprised on that Bradshaw rye because the Bradshaw bourbon, I'm still trying to get through the single bottle that I've had and trying to figure out what to do with it. I was also thinking like making it into a barbecue sauce.
That's I was gonna say, take it to somebody else's barbecue and just eat it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's you gotta do
trouble is that I've got a reputation of bringing the good stuff to people's places.
Bring two bottles, show them the good thing, and then ditch that one in their cupboard.
That's right. Yeah, Gino, that's just a reverse pick pocket bottle. It's the one you bring and then you don't take back with you.
You can't uphold reputations all the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna shut down the Facebook side of things and the recording, but for those of you that are watching on that, thank you all for joining in, and I hope you guys enjoyed the tasting. That was a fun lineup to run through. Kind of surprised with a couple of my favorites there in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Thanks, Evan.
Yeah. Thank you, Harmony. And take care, all of you that are watching the recording.